Hey everybody, this is the Rollei 35AF camera from Mint, released in September of 2024. Many people want to use filters on their cameras, and the lack of filter threads in the lens took a bit of the shine off this new camera. Mint listened, and they came up with a very elegant design to add filters to this camera. Let me show you the filter kit, and let's retrofit this camera in a very simple way to use the new filter kit. This is what you get when you buy the kit. You get an attractive little box with the filters in it. A conversion kit with a new lens cap, some double sticky tape pre-cut, and the new magnetic lens insert. Some neat little Rollei 35 pins. These are the new pieces. And here we have a new lens insert. And it comes with a new lens cap. And you see that that's magnetic. So all the magic is really in this lens insert. In the filter kit, we have this filter adapter that on the one side is going to stick to the lens insert, and on the other side it has 40.5 millimeter threads. So the new lens insert, and there it just clicks in place. There is no position. It's just going to click whichever position you put it in. All right, let's put it on the camera. And just to be clear, if you have a more recent production version of the camera, made in the past few months, I suspect, this is already on your camera. Otherwise, they provide this kit when they sell you the filters. And what you'll need is some cotton buds. They say solvent. I'm going to try isopropyl alcohol. You're going to need something to pry up the old one, and they recommend using tweezers. I don't want to scratch it up, so I'm going to use something else. A guitar pick comes to mind, a thumbnail. So we grab the camera. I take my handy dandy Hello Kitty and put an ear underneath the edge here. There we go. And that came right off. And it's got little bits of adhesive on it here. And the adhesive came off on the ring. And there's a little bit of remaining inside the lens itself up here. If you look at the original lens insert, you'll see a small notch in the left side, and that aligns with the small bump inside the lens itself. And that is simply to make sure that the wording is aligned correctly. Let's set the lens insert aside and grab the new one. I think I'm going to try putting the double stick tape on the back of the lens insert. Oh man, is this fiddly? I'm glad I'm doing it this way. And it's pretty clear why they give you two of these. Keep on going around. Keep on going around. There we go. There's some lumps. I want to smooth those out. Peel off the backing paper. There. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, would you look at that? That is a thing of beauty. The magnetic lens cap fits perfect. Now that we got it installed, let's take a close look at the actual filters they give you. Here's the box it comes in, and just like the camera box, it's really nice. It's a box worthy of storing these in. You have 4 different things in here. The first one is the actual filter ring. Take off the lens cap, and the filter ring itself fits right there where the lens cap would go. Besides the ring adapter itself, you get 3 filters. The first one is a UV filter, which the main reason they give you that one is some people like to use these as protection filters to protect the lens. You could do that. I'm not sure how much protection you get, since if you bump the lens, the filter is just going to fall on the floor. But hey, it's there. UV light is not a big issue these days with modern lenses and modern film stock. So this is more of a, they give it to you because people expect it kind of thing. The next filter they give you is my favorite, and that is yellow. For black and white photography, a yellow filter does a really nice job of darkening the sky a little bit, adding some separation between the sky and the clouds, making skin tones a little lighter, and making the foliage less of a mush. Here's a couple photos I shot with my Canon A1 that show you just the kind of thing I'm talking about. You can see that the sky is a little more distinct. There's a little bit more contrast. Now, one filter that does not come in this kit is a red filter. And that's what I really would have preferred to have had in this kit instead of, say, that UV filter. A red filter will give you much more dramatic skies and much more dramatic contrast, like these sample photos. The third filter that they give you is a thing called a black mist filter. This one, it's a new one to me. I've never even heard of a black mist filter. This filter is used primarily at night or in situations where we have a lot of specular highlights. And imagine a street scene in an urban setting at night with street lights. This filter is going to give you a gentle wash, a misty look. And here are some sample shots from Petapixel where they show the before and the after. And you can definitely see a sort of a dreamy look in the shot that has the black mist filter in place. And it's a new one to me. I'll be interested in trying it out. My preference would have been to have replaced the UV filter with a red filter, but not everybody is a black and white film photographer, and a lot of people do want that UV filter just to protect the lens element. I'm cool with that. Here's a crucial point that you need to know if you're going to buy this filter kit. On many cameras, such as the Pentax 17, this one, the sensor is either inside the camera mechanism itself, or in this case, it's right there at 12 o'clock inside the rim of the lens. What that means is if you are using this camera with a filter on it, you do not need to worry about the light being reduced by the filter. You just meter normally and the camera is going to function correctly. You don't need to worry about a thing. The Rollei 35AF has a separate sensor for light. It is located right there at my fingertip. You see that? That is the sensor for the light meter on the Rollei 35AF. What this means is when you put a filter, like this yellow filter, on your lens, the sensor doesn't see the effect of that filter. It's totally on you. You have to add that exposure compensation. For this yellow lens, you will need to add 1 stop of compensation. And the way you do that is you're going to go to this little ring for your shutter speed, and you're going to click from the A, you're going to go to +1. And now your light meter is going to correctly meter for 1 stop of additional exposure, which is going to account for the yellow. What if you're doing manual photography with this, where you set the aperture and you set the shutter speed yourself, and you use the meter to tell you if you're under or overexposed? At that point, you really can't use the plus or minus settings. You're actually setting your own shutter speed. So what you'll have to do is adjust the ISO instead. This is a 400 speed film that I usually shoot. I'm going to flip the little lever over to the ISO position, and I'm going to press, it actually says ISO 100 now. I'm going to press the self-timer button until I get ISO 200. And there it is. You can see as I'm pressing it, those numbers change. There you go. And you dial in whatever ISO you want. So for 400 speed film with this yellow filter, you'll dial in ISO of 200. If you're using a red filter, you're going to do 3 stops. And so you would go to an ISO of 50. Don't forget to reset your ISO if you take this off. Now let's talk about value. This kit costs $100 in the US today. That's a lot of money. These are what could be called no-name filters. They do not have fancy multi-coatings on them or anything. These are the kind of filters you find on eBay for $10 or $15. So it's not like you're getting this kit with these fancy multi-coated filters that would normally cost $45, $50. You're not getting like a Hoya or something like that. These are more like the Tiffin and below. And the ones that are included may not be for everybody. So for $100, really the reason you're buying this is for the filter adapter ring and the conversion kit if you have an older camera like I do. That's the value right there. Something I need to tell you about. When you buy things that have relatively low costs on the customs form, you might get a nasty gram from the shipper. And this happened with me a few weeks ago. I bought a 3D printed part from Mexico. It came and it said on the customs form like $2 or $3. Okay, cool. Well, maybe there'll be a little bit of a tariff. What I got 2 weeks later was a surprise letter from UPS telling me I had a bill of like $17. Why did I have a bill for $17? Well, they charged me the tariff on the 3D printed part, and then they added a $14 processing fee to that. Nice. At the end of the day, I expect to receive a similar bill from FedEx in a couple weeks because this was shipped from Hong Kong and it had a similarly low value on the customs form. But I'm pretty confident I will be charged something pleasant in a couple weeks. That gives me a little surprise to be waiting for. Here's a bonus. If you buy this filter kit for your Rollei 35AF, they are 40.5 millimeters. It turns out that if you happen to also be a Pentax 17 owner, this camera is also 40.5 millimeters. So you can take your yellow filter and put it right on your Pentax 17 camera. And you can use Pentax 17 filters on your Rollei 35AF. This is really cool because I can assure you that somewhere in this house is a really high quality red filter for my Pentax 17. And when I find it, I'm going to be able to shoot black and white photos with a red filter on my Rollei 35AF. What do I think about this? Well, it's a really clever mechanism. I love the way that they did it. The fact that you just put the adapter on the camera and it sticks with magnets, it's really cool. And the fact that they include the kit for converting your original camera to one with the magnets, kudos to Mint for doing that. It's awesome. This is not the most secure mounting mechanism. And just be careful that when you put this camera in your camera bag, there's a pretty good chance you're going to knock the filter setup off of the end of the lens. So just be careful that you're paying attention to what you're doing, so you don't take your camera out and now halfway through shooting, you don't have a filter on it, but you've already adjusted your ISO and you've got these overexposed photos and they don't have the effect that you were hoping for. Not a big deal. Just watch out for that. It feels super secure. It looks great. It was designed by the manufacturer of this camera. This is an excellent retrofit. Was it worth $100? No, but now I can use filters on my camera. And I'm supporting a company that has a really cool approach towards film photography. They're supporting film photography. I like what Mint does, and their cameras look great. Now I can kick back and relax and wait for that sweet, sweet tariff bill to come in. That's all I got for you today. Thank you for watching. Now go out and shoot a roll.